Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up, My Legion Adventure, episode 64. It's been a week, been longer than a week. I had that bad tooth, and we're a couple days late even with this episode because I got a bad tooth and I'm crazy busy, and Leslie is not here, so I'm all by myself, and I get lazy and I watch a bunch of bad TV. And not really bad TV, good TV. I've been watching some Doctor Who, Season 2, meaning original Season 2, came out on Blu-ray a couple months ago in the States. It's a lot of fun. I watched The Web Planet, loved it. But we're here to talk Legion, and we're going to be talking Adventure Comics 367 and 368. And I enjoyed them. I've read them a few times. I've had a little extra time to read them, and let's get started, okay? Here we go. It is Adventure Comics 367, cover date April 1968. Neil Adam cover with Jasper Celadano inks. It's pretty good. It's got all these shadows circling around Starboy, Karate Kid, Phantom Girl, and Superboy. And it says, "It's no use, Legionnaires. Even the mighty walls of your new headquarters cannot keep us out. The Dark Circle is closing on you." Featuring No Escape from Circle of Death and the Legion's new headquarters. It is the name of the story is No Escape from the Circle of Death. Part 2 is called Victims of the Sinister Circle. It is a 24-pager. Credits: Mort Weisinger, editor plotter, scripter, penciler Jim Shooter, layouts only, penciler Kurt Swan, inker George Klein, pages 1 through 10 only, Sheldon Maldorf, the rest. Letterer, Ray Holiday, ? I don't know if, I'm using a very old magazine, Illustrated Index of Legion of Superheroes. Roll call: Cosmic Boy, Brainiac 5, Superboy, Lightning Lad, Dual Damsel, Phantom Girl, Starboy, Invisible Kid, Sunboy, Karate Kid. We meet Sensei, Karate Kid's teacher, the villains, the Dark Circle, and Norak. A controller back. Cameo appearances, nothing really major. This is the second Legion headquarters, first appears in this story. And it's a great one. It isn't my favorite. My favorite's the one after that. Hey, so time for the synopsis from Mike's Amazing Database, Mike's Amazing World. It is shorter and more to the point. As construction progresses on the new Legion headquarters, Karate Kid greets Brainiac 5 and Sunboy with the news that he is about to depart Japan for the much-needed vacation. After the three tour the complex, Karate Kid takes his leave while his comrades examine the many items they've received as housewarming gifts, including one marked in an indecipherable alien language. Meanwhile, a mysterious group called the Dark Circle spies on Earth from halfway across the galaxy and decides now is the time to strike. As Karate Kid arrives in Tokyo and visits his aged mentor, a blast from outside tears a hole in the wall of their building and nearly kills them. When Karate Kid stares through the hole, he sees an army of alien invaders. He fights back, but is overwhelmed by sheer numbers. His attempt to contact his fellow Legionnaires and obtain assistance is useless, as they too are fighting aliens who are appearing all over Earth. At Legion headquarters, the Legionnaires fight valiantly but are eventually taken captive. Only Brainiac 5 escapes, and since the Legion's arsenal is under close guard, he sneaks into the storage area and frantically searches amongst their gifts for a suitable weapon. While aliens come in to investigate the noise, he wishes Karate Kid was present to hold them off, and the kid suddenly appears. Brainiac tells his realizing what has happened, skipped ahead, Brainiac 5 recovers the crate with the strange writing, removes the machine inside it. He grasps for the device and concentrates, and in a sudden incredible force, the aliens are swept off Earth back to their own worlds. The new Legion headquarters complex is completed. Brainiac tells his awestruck comrades that the device is the Miracle Machine, a device that converts thoughts into reality. He theorizes it originated in the Controller's universe, and this is confirmed when a Controller materializes before them and warns them of its vast potential for disaster. Heeding their warning, the Legion seal the Miracle Machine in a cube of inertron until mankind is wise enough to use it. So, it's the introduction of the Miracle Machine, it's a return of a Controller, it's the introduction of a new headquarters, It's chock full of greatness in this comic. I really did enjoy this comic. I don't think it's been a while since I read it. We're getting to a point where there are going to be some comics I haven't read. I think in the action series I may have owned them and never read them, and I've not read the later. I'm getting into the archives that I've never read, but it's got great art. So it's the great Neil Adams cover. By the way, I like the splash page. It has Brainiac 5 in the caption box going. That there's a Dark Circle guy standing over unconscious Legionnaires saying, "Victory is ours! The Legion is defeated!" That guy's wrong. His men have one more Legionnaire to deal with. Me, Brainiac 5. But the trouble is, I have nothing to hit him with unless I pull something out of the hat. No escape. There'll be no escape from the Dark Circle of Death. And we get some great, it's God, man, it's just Kurt Swan goodness, and it's just so gorgeous. His future tech, the buildings all being built. You get to see the Legionnaires doing some work in their arsenal. And I like this, man, because you're getting a tour of what they're going to have. You get to see their miniature weapons, their giant weapons, the huge statue to Pharaoh Lad. At this point, he's the only dead Legionnaire. They've got a new control room with a monitor globe in the center of the table, and the seats will shoot them out of the roof. They have ejector seats because, with flight rings, you also need ejector seats. And it's neat to see that there is a straight line destination subway from Metropolis to Japan. That looks dangerous, that you cut a hole like that through the earth. Then we get to see, but it's cool. It's a Tokyo Metropolis Express. It's in a rocket train that cuts through this tunnel like a subway, and that's how Karate Kid goes to visit his sensei. And we get to see Superboy bringing in gifts. They've got the new rockets. It's really stunning art. And then we get our first taste of the Dark Circle. I love these villains, more so with this reading, because talking to Jimbo, we talked about the Great Dark Circle story arc in the reboot, which I remember loving. I know they come back in some other ones, but I think, and I just watched the Legion animated movie, which I enjoyed. It's a different, unique Legion. Every time they have a new Legion, every time they bring the Legion in a movie or a comic nowadays, it's a different Legion, and it's not my Legion. But I was entertained by it. I liked it. But we get to see them. They're sitting around their round table, and they've got their funky masks and their great uniforms, and they're talking about how they want the weapons from Legion headquarters, but the Fatal Five stole them when they destroyed it, and then back to Karate Kid in Tokyo. It's really well. I mean, it's just such stunning work, creating it, and you get to see his master, his sensei, is been killed, and then he's fighting all these Dark Circle guys, and then he finds out everybody's overwhelmed, and they get defeated, and they're trapped, and it's this is a 24-page story, man. There's a lot of caption boxes, a lot of thought balloons, a lot of dialogue, but there's a lot going on, and it's a really good story. And I love the Miracle Machine, and I love it when it comes back later. But Brainiac 5 whipping it out, and then when he wishes them away, they're literally thrown through space back to their worlds, and the great new Legion has appeared. And I'll find a picture of it and post it when I post the episode tonight. It's great, and you have the flashback to the controller, and then the controller coming back, and it sets up a lot of stuff that's going to be used later. Really, some great stuff used later. That's a great issue, and it was cool to read it again. There's some great stuff in it. The great art. It's also the last one in Volume 7 of the archive. So the next issue that we talked about, I read inside that. Again, the adventure comics that are missing in the DC app is criminal. It's just criminal. But let's move on. Adventure Comics 368, cover date May 1968. Cover Neil Adams, letter Gasper Saladino, and it is a story of the mutiny of the heroines, and it's Supergirl throwing Superboy and Light Laster and Ultra Boy and while the other Legionnaires, female Legionnaires, cheer on. Editor Plotter, Mort Weisinger, plotter, scripter, penciler, Jim Shooter, layouts only. Penciler, Kurt Swan, inker, George Klein, letterer, Jasper Saladino, page one only, Charlotte Jeter for the rest. Roll call: Saturn Girl, Invisible Kids, Supergirl, Brainiac 5, Shrinking Violet, Superboy, Ultra Boy, Light Lass, Dream Girl, Karate Kid, Lightning Lad, Dual Damsel, Phantom Girl, Starboy, Princess Protecta, and Shadow Lass. Villains is Thora, the really hardly sexist written female villain. It's crazy. So let us go to Mike's World for the synopsis, because I think that is the best bet. So hold 1 second while I pull it up. After Karate Kid and Superboy test Val's fighting skills, they and the other Legionnaires are summoned to Metropolis Spaceport to rescue a spaceship carrying an alien ambassador to Earth. Upon their arrival, the ship crashes in a ball of flame. But the ambassador, a woman from the planet Taltar, named Thora, easily frees herself and emerges unscathed. Her society is a matriarchal one, and she expresses a marked distaste for all males. But she cordially greets President Baltax, I will always laugh at that name, Baltax of Earth. Later, Thor researches Legion lore and carves miniature statues of the female Legionnaires. Then touches the stud on her bracelet and causes an eerie radiation to bathe the statuettes. The result shows itself the following morning when the Legion girls wake to find their powers have been increased fantastically. Supergirl is now immune to kryptonite, and she rescues her cousin Superboy from a green kryptonite trap. The boys, suspecting that the girls' increased powers may be the result of a rare space disease, quarantine them, while Thor continues to treat the statuette with radiation in various intervals. When the boys are trapped by inmates while attempting to quell a riot at the prison citadel at Mount Metro, the girls break quarantine and save them. However, the boys chastise them for doing so, and the girls respond by angrily battling and defeating them. Now the bruised and battered male Legionnaires realize that a person and not a disease is behind the heroine's physical and mental change. Thor gloats over the division of the Legion and visits the girls at the headquarters. As the division between the boys and the girls grows wider, Shadow Lass makes a remark about Brainiac 5 that shocks Supergirl, who remembers their romance. Thor keeps bathing the satellites in radiation, and when the time seems right, she has the girls attack the boys and nearly kill them. Suddenly, her bracelet explodes, and the girls return to normal. Supergirl explains that Shadow Lass's remark enabled her to escape Thora's control. Discovering her scheme, she learned Thor controlled their minds and arranged for the bracelet to self-destruct. Thor then swallows a poison as the penalty of her failure, not knowing that her own world had overthrown its matriarchal government while she was away. So, this was pretty to look at, I will say that. The art is amazing. It is Kurt Swan and George Klein, so that's all I've got to say. I did find that I didn't enjoy the comic as much because, one, we've had some great stories. The Dark Circle story. We have had Stalag in Space. We have had Surprise Mysterious. But just to go back to the basically overly silly plots, it just, the girls are just too, they're manipulated. They, if women are in charge, it's a bad thing. That's what this reads as. That a matriarchal society would be bad. I mean, they do make Invisible Kid says, planet used to be a patriarchy, but, we see everybody's equal. But it just doesn't read, it just doesn't hold up. I mean, the art makes it well worth reading. And if you're going to do with me or doing this read through, I'm going to have to go with the ups and downs. And I just found this one just a little dated and a little too much throwback to the earlier stuff from the late 50s. It bugged me. It just bugged me this time. But there's some great stuff going on. The art's crazy good. We get a break from it in the next issue, the next adventure. But that one I'm not covering. But I'll tell you why in a little bit. But yeah, this one was a little too basic for me. I'm really enjoying the read through. I'm kind of glad I took a break. The next story is the next one we're going to cover is the introduction of Mordru, and I have it in Treasury Edition. So I'm going to read it in that. That sounds like fun. So I'm looking forward to it. But that's it for this week's In My Legion adventure. I will say we are not covering Superboy 147, which has the origin, because me and Jimbo covered that in another episode about origin stories. So I'm going to skip that one-parter and go on to the next two-parter. So that will be hopefully this Thursday coming up. All right, folks, as always, check us out. Give us a like on YouTube if you could, like and follow me on YouTube. I appreciate it. I'm thinking about getting a web page, so I think I've discovered one I liked service, and I think I may start adding stuff. I don't know yet, but I'm thinking about it. So let me know what you think. But until then, folks, be smart, be safe, be kind, and read some comics. And I'm going to read some Suicide Squad to talk to Kirby about.